Okay, good morning, everybody. We are all set here, so let's go ahead and kick off. My name is Jared. It is Engineering the Markets, February 7th, 2023. Happy Tuesday to everybody. You might notice my voice is a little choppy today, so I guess give me a couple minutes as I maybe cough or struggle with the catch up here. But all in all, fairly non-eventful session yesterday, especially across the indices. There's a little bit of divergence in performance, which is starting to show a little bit more day by day. Things like the IWM were actually down a bit more significantly on the session. And some of that may be coming from some of our risk factors that are starting to enter the market. But if we're looking at the SPX, fairly non-eventful session, relatively flat, and especially on the intraday, quite range bound. The price activity was mostly confined within the morning session highs and lows. And if we zoom in, you can kind of see what type of trade we were encountering. There was a few breaches here and there, but overall, 80% of the price activity stayed within the morning session highs and lows. So if we start to experience sessions like this, it's kind of a representation of why you should always kind of keep those marked on your session. It lets you know whether there's any significant imbalance of buyers or sellers. And usually if price continues to return to these regions, what it'll help you do is not really take a pullback trade in the wrong price region. So for example, a lot of traders are often looking for things like ABC type patterns. They're looking to get short somewhere in this region. And of course, they're looking for the breakdown of the swing low. When that doesn't happen, what starts to really push back against you is the range bound trading. Oftentimes always coming at least to the high and at least to the low quite a few times throughout the session. This, of course, was our most significant breach, and a lot of key stocks were pulling back, probably the most they did on the entire session. But afterwards, most of the names either bounced really strongly or started to stall after that swing low, the dip low that we saw in the morning. So one of the topics that I wanted to cover was this idea of market generated information and using that to get a little bit of edge inside of a intraday trade, but also, just how to think about a market right before it's opening and to prepare in the pre-market session. One of the benefits that we have with reviewing or analyzing things like the S&P, the NASDAQ, IWM, et cetera, a lot of our index products, is that the futures market for these indices often trade after hours and longer in the pre-market, especially on Monday. They'll open up Sunday night, and we can kind of see what the overnight session looks like and what those traders are thinking. Are they seeing continuation? Are they seeing pullback? Are they seeing some sort of net long, net short, and a little bit of what's often referred to as like shock and awe? Something that's more of a surprise for the positions that were placed. And the best market to do that in is the futures market, in my personal opinion. One thing you'll notice about yesterday's trade is we started our ES futures open with a bit of a gap down. Nothing significant, but the previous session was, for the most part, a fairly stalled out trade. There was no additional upside, and there was continuation for some of these bearish positions that were placed on Thursday of last week, the absolute highs. And when you start to look at how that overnight trade is performing, you'll see that it started to accelerate, especially to the downside when we opened on Monday. More downside behavior. But then we found a low. And this is not only our S&P pre-market low, but it's also our overnight low. The sort of the pre-market low from the futures session. What you can start to think about is, what are those participants thinking as the market is about to open? Because for the most part, the bears were in control of the futures market until we got to about 4 to 5 Eastern. And in that period, we started to see a lot of stalled trade, trade that wasn't necessarily expanding. We were pulling back from that low quite significantly. And as we were about to open on the session, you can start to think about, there are already some trade positions that, for the most part, experienced a relative low. They kind of know what sort of the maximum drawdown was in that period. And if the session were to offer them another opportunity to basically profit take near that region, they might take it. And that's usually why we start to think about pre-market low and pre-market high as significant regions, because it represents an area that the overnight trade had an opportunity to either take a position or to exit a position, sort of a max reward and possibly a max risk for the opposite part of the market. So these bits of information kind of help us in the actual session trade, because we get a sense of what the futures traders and overnight traders are thinking. They're often as well categorized in a few different ways. One would be sort of a net long position, where the market is essentially rallying or closing relatively strong on the session. The net long type position would indicate that we're seeing some continuation of that trade. So the after hours continues. And then coming into the next session, depending on how we're opening, this can either be no surprise, coming back to value, or even continuing further would be no surprise to those traders. They were net long, they expected the market to keep going, and for the most part, they would be right. Or we could start to see these gaps, a gap down after a net long session, providing really what is kind of categorized as shock and awe, especially if we're gapping below the previous session's range. That's when we really start to talk about the types of gap structure that provide follow through, and the actual stop loss triggering, or anything that would indicate sort of a fear-based trade because of a previous session. And I think that's been trying to represent itself a few times in this market, but a lot of our gap downs haven't really been significant enough. They've either been within a previous session's range and were mostly bought back up, essentially filling the gap to previous day close, or there wasn't necessarily an all net long or net short position in the after hours. Therefore, coming into a new session, more positions were essentially transacted during the open. And, we start to see a little bit more of the balance that we saw yesterday. So, given today, I'm not necessarily feeling super well. I think I'll probably call that conversation there. What I'd like to do is maybe cover it a bit more tomorrow, assuming I'm feeling a little bit better, and start to talk about how to actually mark those bits of information and recognize them. Even if you're not someone who's using market profile or anything like a TPO chart, time price opportunity chart. There's still ways to identify whether previous session participants are more long, more short, whether or not the gaps that we're seeing are surprising to those participants, and for the most part, whether they're going to be seeing any sort of shock and awe. That would be the type of day where the market feels a little bit more trending or has a little bit more energy in one direction. Usually those are going to be better days for day traders. So that's kind of one thing to kind of recognize. But along with that, just kind of note yesterday how it traded and understand that this is just a common technique. Anytime we're in the first 30 minutes of trade, we're wanting to see if things are balanced, imbalanced, or are we starting to see sort of a side of the market that's leaning a bit more in one direction. For yesterday, it was definitely more balanced in the morning, and outside of that breach to the downside, had that come back in and maybe set up against the low, we could have seen more selling. There definitely was a bit more downside opportunity, but because we broke back into the range, it provided the risk of the swing back or the whipsaw back to the highs. Now, as far as performance is concerned, yesterday was quite the market internals weren't quite the greatest. So a bear nor a bull really wasn't seeing a significant follow through, but there were some sectors that were maybe more in focus. A lot of sectors actually traded relatively flat, like the S&P, and most of these are actually key sectors too. So there really wasn't key leadership on either side of the market. Little bit more defensive trading yesterday. That might be due to what we're about to see today with Federal Chair Jerome Powell's speech that should be occurring at 12:40 Eastern. So a little bit of defensive posturing, but there's not a lot of bear follow through. The spread to the downside is not quite significant yet. So be on guard here, especially if we do see some more session lows getting broken. But all in all, we're not seeing massive correlation inside of the market. And therefore, bears kind of need that correlation to trigger a sell. Usually the days that are the most bearish feeling have almost all sectors selling at the same time. Not necessarily defensive names, but the ones that are going to be selling the hardest are the risk on names. And they were weak yesterday, but they weren't really fearfully weak. They were mostly just pulling back. So that's kind of what I'm looking for to give me more of that bearish bias. For now, I'm keeping with the trend, and yesterday was potentially a pivoting kind of day. The question would be, which side are we going to break? If we break yesterday's high, that would be, daily pullback sort of set. We'll see if that results in a lower high or just, something insignificant. And then, of course, if we break lower, it just means we're still pulling back. And, that depth of retracement will be more concerning for bulls moving forward. Just to show as well what I'm referring to, Federal Chair Jerome Powell's speech, 1240 is what's indicated here. So there might be some volatility during this period. Just don't be surprised by it. All in all, there's some import and export data coming out at the end of this session, but today's really a low impact day economic data wise. The thing that would be a little bit of an interesting trade is if we hear something new relative to the jobs data that we got on Friday. This is the first time Jerome Powell's been able to speak on that data result, given that the FOMC was Wednesday. So it's his first opportunity to kind of answer questions about it, and noteworthy report because it came in better than expected. So our non-farm payroll, yeah, like our estimates here and the actual, we're talking about massive deviation from what was estimated, which is interesting, but it's also indicative that there might be another change in how the Fed is going to price some of the future rate hikes. So be on the lookout for that, and really just kind of watch tone during that press conference. If you hear something that's once again returning to a more hawkish stance, that could easily trigger selling. Otherwise, the market does kind of lean more towards what was stated at the FOMC, which is a few more 25-point rate hikes leading into the terminal rate, which I would say is probably closer to 5.25, 5.5. Market's going to price this a little bit more probabilistically, but I think we're probably going to go past 5%, just given what was said last FOMC. So that's pretty much all I have. Today is one of those days to maybe be a little picky. There's a couple of earnings to be on the lookout for. I saw ATVI reported, so something that's a little bit more in play would be a spot to watch. Even if there's stocks that are maybe heading towards really key price targets, these would also be ones to watch. Tesla, for example, very likely to touch 200, if not continue. The daily is telling me, things are kind of building up in this area. Semis are always interesting. So I'm kind of watching to see how these respond relative to NASDAQ strength, because they have just relative leadership here. And, their uptrend is really strong. They're not quite pulled back enough yet to consider the bounce, but, that leadership could continue in the future. Also be on the lookout for deeper consolidation too, because this is a pretty nice extension. We saw quite a bit of consolidation afterwards. So just be on the lookout. Like, things are kind of equal in their measured movement here. We might be thinking something like this, but we might get this later. So the type of consolidation up here, don't necessarily just think price. We might need a little bit more time build up, before something continues or comes back down. At this point, I'm giving the bulls the benefit of the doubt. Did you touch on the debt ceiling question? No, I don't think it's relevant to the market personally. Bonds, I would be careful here on bonds. They're at a point where I wouldn't be stepping in unless I'm trying to short against this high. Rates are on the rise again, so I'm just kind of looking at these as reversion trades back to some of the mean values and some of the trend lines. Still not bearish on them yet, but in the short term, they're selling off quickly, which means rates are shooting back up. Pretty quick moves, but they're coming off of a level, dynamic support, the 200. So just like stocks, it's kind of like you see a trend through price, but then you run into something significant and it changes the structure of how the trend is moving. So those are the moments to take profit, change your bias, do something with it. It's a moment. Let's see what else we got. AMD gap fill with ISO pivot. Which gap? If you're going for the earnings gap, I would not try it. If you're going for more pullback, sure. Earnings gaps typically don't fill super quickly unless the market all of a sudden changes sentiment. So for me, the better probability is trying to go for the 200-day. Yes, it looks short-term downside. any weakness in the market, I would expect it to continue to pull back. But to fill that gap, no, I wouldn't do that. It's a low probability event. So gaps like that aren't meant to fill. Not currently. They're going to be on a different time frame. So does the dollar concern you? Yes, we talked about it yesterday. Nothing has changed from yesterday's concern. We looked at this exact chart yesterday. But this is the environment we're in. So equities are pulling back during dollar weakness. If the dollar draws back in, I would expect equities to possibly bounce back a little bit. Not strongly, but I do believe we're in a new regime of we need to pay attention to what this is doing. And for the most part, I was thinking it was going to come back to this level, which it has. If it starts pulling in, then equities could see sort of like that higher low and lower high approach. So the move here might actually reflect how equities are moving, but they would move something like that, correlated with the dollar's movements, inversely correlated. So does it concern me in the short term? We knew this was coming. This is where the dollar was expected to bounce. We saw this before historically. This bounce was pretty mild. This one's actually a little faster. So we need to watch this chart a little bit closer. Wouldn't you consider today as a day of changing sentiment? Well, have we changed the trend? And the answer is no. So as long as the trend's intact, then the sentiment's the same. Like there's really no pullback bull concern right now because we're not breaking that low. But, this is an area where bulls have to keep proving it because every pullback, they have to be a buyer. And there's a little bit of overextension, which I don't like. If price goes a little too far from some key MAs, I would prefer a wider or deeper consolidation, but it doesn't mean I'm bearish. You pick your spots to be bearish, and then you see what happens. I don't think it's worth shorting in the hole if they buy a pullback because they're gonna fight you, on the way back up. So what just happened there? Thoughts on QQQ for today? Depends on the dollar. Well, it depends on rates, actually. The Qs have a little bit more of their gap to fill. The thing that I would like to see is that they fill last week's gap completely and then just start another trend back to the upside or another push. You can kind of play with the idea of maybe a little bit of a channel forming in the short term, but nothing about this looks bearish to me. They've already pushed out, so they're coming back into their previous supports. And that's where, it's hard to trust low of day without those gaps filling, but low of day has been holding better than most. So, there's a lot of flags building right now. Flags are not bearish. They're just extended. Like the difference between overextension and bearish there's two different conversations. Do I think the MAs need to catch up? Absolutely. How long does that take? Well, it depends on how they consolidate. If they consolidate like this and this guy catches up and then catches the price right there, we could easily do that. Keep going. So it's a proving ground, Bulls had their fun last week. They need to consolidate. They need to back test. Once they do that, if they don't prove it in that region, then we can start talking about a return into the range. But it's hard to be a bear when you're way outside here and every pullback has been bought. So I know it's a simple analysis, but that trend line, that MA is catching up because price was so fast. In order for that to happen, they can consolidate over time, over price, or over both. And anywhere in this price region is acceptable, you know. But the key thing for the Qs is I want to fill this little gap right here, right where that line is. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and drop here. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Stay tuned for pre-market prep. We'll talk more tomorrow. I'll answer these questions in the chat room. So take it easy.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. I hope you had a at least decent day yesterday. At least trading. It wasn't great, but I hope you had a decent day. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good. Cannot complain. Um, Guys, let's take a quick look at what the markets looked like yesterday. Again, very, very tough day. I think yesterday the overall market was just trying to prove everyone a loser, right? I mean, it's just that's what it was. It was so bad as far as how sideways everything was. Jared went over this earlier today, guys. Thumbs up for Jared, engineering the markets every Monday through Thursday, and and again, it's just a lot of sideways opportunity, So uh, Isaac says it succeeded. It really did. I mean, I had one trade which it wasn't great, maybe one R, but just no continuation on AMD, right? But just no continuation. This was a song and dance yesterday, and if you look at the spy, everything did the exact same thing. I mean, there was nothing that I had on my list at least that did something different, right? So here's Tesla. Just look at every candle overlapping every other candle before it, and just it did go to a point here, but man, it was just nasty with these wicks, just all over the place. So really stuck in a range. We did get a drop here on the SPY as well, so you'll see that. And Jared had a nice range on the SPY. If you guys were watching earlier, this is where it dipped below that, but then it just kind of got stuck right in here. Not much going on. If we look at Baba, same thing, stuck in a range there. Did break out and find another range, but again, the only one probably that had a move that was somewhat decent to take was this one. But when you see what's going around everything else, it's hard to believe that this thing is going to break out when the last three attempts failed and everything else looks messy, right? It's very difficult to believe in that. Here was AMD, and AMD. Where was the breakout? I think it was around here somewhere. Yeah, this was the previous day close. Went right to it, right above it, and then just slammed right back down. So again, not a whole lot of movement in there. Again, just a very very tough day. So Tesla was not easy to scalp yesterday. No, it wasn't. No, it really was not. But that's okay, man. We've been coming off some really great days, so we're gonna have some okay days. Not everything is going to be a blockbuster type day, but it's so funny. We go from this, especially on Tesla, we go from this great pre-market action to just this trash at the market open. If we would have known that, I think we already traded Tesla at the pre-market and said, okay, let's go back to bed at the market open. But yeah, tough day yesterday. We'll see what the market brings today. The SPY right now, pretty much flat at the moment, right? So not doing a whole lot. It's just a lot of indecision on what's next here with the overall market. Our gappers list this morning has a couple of things in the green, some names that I don't believe I ever seen. So we'll dive into what's happening there. I know we have earnings this week. The names are not as hot as they were last week or the week before, but we do have a couple of earnings plays today as well. And then on our gap down, again, some really funky stocks in here. Let's go to the latest and greatest on the overall market.
Yep. As you mentioned yesterday, a bit of a tough day, but I think a lot of it's waiting for the 12:40 speech from Jerome Powell today after we had the big jobs report on Friday. That is the big one today. We'll see how it goes. We also have the vice chair speaking at 2 p.m. So, consumer credit at 3, but those two speeches are probably the big movers. They're just back now on the speaking circuit after the FOMC meeting and policy announcement last Wednesday. And then, of course, we had the blowout jobs number, more than doubling the estimates on Friday, showing the end to inflation is nowhere in sight. Let's see how it goes.
Yep, absolutely. All right, excellent, guys. Let's get over to our watch list and see what we can find here. Oh, my hotkey is frozen. Hold on a second. Let's try that again. Okay, there we go. All right, we're back on track here. All right, let's see what we have here, guys. Let's start with our gap up list. OSH. Let's see what this is. OSH this morning. Oh, what is going on here? A nice gap up, but not a pretty price action right now. Earnings last night, or I don't even know. I mean, what is this?
No, this is a buyout by CVS. Or at least a rumored buyout. So not a great trader here.
Yeah, careful with this stuff. So yeah, probably not going to trade great today. Let's look at Baidu this morning. Let's take a look here. Baidu. And you know what's the tough? Let me go back to this actually. You know what's the tough thing about these? Because you're going to see these a lot throughout your trading career. The hard thing about this is you can catch a move. Let's say this is a rumor and it ends up being not true, that this is not going to happen, and CVS puts out a statement, whatever. This thing's going to drop so fast, you're probably not going to catch the move. You'll probably get in when it's resting.
Probably out of it.
Yeah, you're not going to catch the move. Yeah,
there's no way you can beat the machines.
Right. And when it comes here, by the time it takes a break and you get in here because it just slowed down, right? It's kind of taking a break here. It shoots back up, and now you're in a situation where, yeah, it can still go to 26, but now you're in the pullback of $2, right? So your timing is just going to be off on this thing. And most importantly, can you replicate that over and over again, right? Because that's the problem. You need to replicate this. So this is so random at times that even if it does something nice and moves down to 26, and even if you knew that it was going to drop here because the rumors came out false, You can't catch this every single time. So building consistency on something like this is extremely difficult, and that's what trading is all about, right? So let's go to our Baidu. So if you're wondering, why we just dismiss something that quickly, that's the reason why. If you're brand new to the channel, either as a member or over on YouTube, this is the reason why. Let's head over to Baidu, guys. Baidu gapping up 12% this morning. That's a nice gap up for these guys. Are they in the midst of earnings? No, it's not earnings. So any news going on with our buddies, Chinese
I have Baidu on my
stocks?
list right here, man.
Yeah,
So apologies if I'm missing something.
no
Maybe somebody
worries.
can point it out if they've got great specific news for Chat GPT. I don't know. Yep, a rival to Chat
Chat
GPT.
GPT. I'm like, what do you mean chat? Yeah, for a minute, I'm like, wait, you're asking Chat GPT for?
No,
But I see there's someone here
no,
says
no, no.
Chat GPT. Yeah, it's gonna be a confusing name.
Sorry, that was down my list.
Yeah, so we'll come back to this, but this is pretty aggressive today. And Baidu is a hit or miss. I don't usually trade it.
GP2 is a new NFT, I guess.
Yeah,
Remember when the fungus used to
the fungus.
catalyze everything? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I tell you, these trends that they're just unreal. But some stick, but others is just like no, 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 no. This is not gonna happen. So here's Baidu, guys. Great volume. We'll see what's going on there. Let's take a look at LAC this morning. LAC up 11.8, 551,000. Um, we've seen this on our list before. Again, very light on volume. I'm not a huge fan of the way the price action trades on this thing. This is lithium batteries. Is
Yeah,
this
this is a lithium producer.
any?
I believe it was some legal action they had going on that's ended favorably for them and giving them the
Mhm.
pop this morning. So
Okay, so they got a catalyst behind it, so maybe can do something. Pre-market access looks okay. Not a great ticker based on everything else that I'm seeing here, but yeah, maybe today they can do something. All right, DADA this morning. This one trades like crap, guys. I mean, it's just not a great ticker. I'm not gonna spend no time on it.
how do you
Really,
really
really.
feel?
Yeah, exactly. Really, really a crappy stock to trade. Wow, RCL. I cannot remember the last time we ever looked at this thing. This thing is at 72 bucks. So again,
Earnings this morning.
we're cranking on RCL here. So it's again very, very light on volume. Usually not a great trader. Normally when the cruise lines are in play, I'm usually looking at something like NCLH and CCL, and I see NCLH getting going here and CCL. Okay, guys, I know some of you guys been throwing this ticker off for a long time, looking to get something out of it. Today could possibly be the day. Today could possibly be the day where these do something because they have not been in play. They've been horrible. Yes, I know they're trending here, but that does not mean they're great intraday trading situation happening there, right? So everything is doing this. AMD, everything is doing this right now with the overall market. Today could be the day, and looks like RCL is leading the way. But man, out of all of them, this is the one that I dislike the most. So it's tough to put RCL on my list. I rather put CCL as a secondary to see if that does something. I mean, it's just RCL doesn't get the volume, the liquidity is not there, and even CCL is not looking great right now. But if you were looking for this, yeah, you could probably get this going. Maybe we'll get 50 cents. Yeah, maybe we'll get 50 cents on CCL today instead of 21. So absolutely. Here we go, guys. We got a bunch of Chinese tickers in here. I see Tao. I see some other ones towards the bottom here. IQ. And again, Baidu. Not a big fan of those. Let's see BP. BP. They had earnings. Looks like this morning. So BP with earnings this morning and not doing a whole lot. They don't. Again, another one that doesn't trade very well. But if you do like this one today, will be the day to put that on deck. And then we got more down here. AMC. No, not memeing. It's got some volume, but not memeing just yet. And IQ, yeah, not a whole lot looks good on this list, guys. Let's look at what's happening on the gap down. CHGG.
Pretty
This is
sure
down.
AMC is just bouncing on BBBY in sympathy because they both
Oh,
meme.
is BBBY doing some stuff?
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at yesterday. Yesterday from 3 to
Yeah,
7.
they came
Yeah.
through. Somebody's trying to save them, throwing them $1 billion lifeline. We'll see if it works.
Mm. Ah, man,
Would
We'll
you like to
see.
throw your $1 billion their way to see
No
if they can
way.
help with it? Use it
No
to
way. Mm, that is, man. They got. Oh man. Wow. We'll see.
gutsy.
This thing is so bad. It can eat through that so fast and it's still not change
Hmm.
their direction, and that's scary. That someone would think to do that. Um, all right, let's see here. So BBBY doing some stuff down 37%. I think it's just too messy for the way I trade, guys. So even though it is in play today, it's way too messy. CHGG this morning they are down 22%, 800,000. Not a great trader. I like this gap down today though. Any news worth? Oh, this is
Which one are you
Chegg,
talking about?
CHGG.
Chegg had earnings last night.
Okay.
Downgrade this morning.
Big drop last night here, guys. I just don't know if we're going to do anything else today. You've been moving sideways here. I just don't know if there's anything left for this thing to do. Not a great trader, very light volume. So I like the drop, but I just don't know if we're going to get anything good out of this. We will come back to that one. HOLO this morning, not doing a whole lot. Again, down 14%, but the volume is not great. And I don't know what kind of trade this is, but it's just not great neither. So let's go to BLNK, which is Blink charging up. Blink taking a hit this morning, down 11.1. That's interesting. I like what they're sitting here on the daily. Extremely light volume, guys. I think at one point they were somewhat active, and we had it on a list here and there, but since then it has died down. Only 2 million for the last 2 months. So that does not sound like fun.
They've had a secondary going on.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So not even a great catalyst on top of that. ZI today, they are down 10%. Again, another one that's just, man, this is just pure trash here, guys. Let's get down to BBAI. This has been the one that's been running for the last couple of days. We're getting tired here. Is the fun over on BBAI? 7.2 million shares float. Could be. Could be. Careful on this. Hard to borrow on Interactive Brokers at least, so no shares to short. But yeah, careful on that one. And AI, what's AI doing here? So AI continues to hold here. Hasn't really fell apart yet, or if it's not saying it's going to, but it's been holding here. And this morning again, great volume 1.6, had a nice range yesterday. Be careful on this one, guys. I'll put it on as a secondary because it is active and it's fun to watch. But be very careful on this thing. GNS, more stuff, more garbage here. I got another one here, and then Futu, which doesn't look great. Man, there was we went through probably 20 plus tickers here, and there's nothing, just a big dumpster fire. Melody, yeah, I agree. Norm, anything you like today?
No, I think this goes to the Jay Powell speech. I mean, obviously, the rate cut, the market liked what he had to say last Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 days after that, you have the massive jobs blowout with over 2 times the jobs announced than anticipated for January. I think it's going to come down to sitting and waiting, seeing what's going on when he speaks today, if there's any change in his pattern of what he says, in the
Mm-hmm.
outlook that he gives, any of that. I think we might be sitting on our hands a little bit this morning in some chop. Could be
Yeah,
wrong. But I,
yeah,
I, I think that the market likely wants to get a little bit of a feel for what their take is after that hot number came out. We did have Neil Kashkari, who's the Minneapolis Fed president, speaking on CNBC this morning. Did not get a chance to watch it, but yeah.
yeah. It's Man, it's not looking great at the moment. But we'll see. I mean, yesterday, guys, was pretty choppy, and we're leading up. Today's pre-market action actually looks worse than yesterday. So my hopes of today being an amazing day are slim. But man, this market can come up with some stuff. What time does he speak? Says William.
12:40, I believe.
12:40. All right, let's take a look at some of the stuff you guys have on deck here. So let's start with Jeff P. You're giving us Meta. Let's take a look there at Meta. What's going on? Man, Meta's holding here, guys. So again, just got their own little island. They are struggling to make new highs. Yesterday, not a too critical because everything struggled to trade well yesterday. But again, they got their own little thing going on here. Some people feel they're going to start closing this gap eventually. I think Meta's a good one to watch. Maybe not a great One to keep on deck, at the top here. But I think it'll be interesting to see where this is going to go. Maybe not today, but in the next couple of days. What is the trend going to
So,
look like for Meta here? What's up?
said we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So interesting there. Tesla, of course, we'll
Not
take a
saying
look
it
at
won't
that.
happen, but keep in mind that they authorized a very large a decent sized share buyback,
Hmm.
which when you put in that into the mix can help support their share price a little bit better than you think.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, so we'll see how that turns out there. Here's Tesla, guys. Tesla is up 1%. Again, really good volume. Horrible trading yesterday, but that was everything. So worth keeping Tesla on deck. If something's going to trade well, I would think it would be Tesla. So let's definitely do that. Meta to extended. Jeff, I don't know if it's too extended, man. I mean, yes. If you look at here, right? If you look at November, even if you look at December, beginning of January, yeah, it's definitely extended. But keep in mind, this stock has been beat up quite a bit. So it closed this gap here and it's kind of back to where some levels where it was just not so long ago. So it can hold here, man. It can hold here.
things
People
can
could,
stay extended longer than that makes
yeah,
sense,
yeah.
longer than you can ride it out.
Yeah. And it might not come back. I'm telling you, because again, keep think about how bad this stock has been. If you go back, and we're going way back now, look how much this thing has dropped. So it can hang around 200 here for a very long time and not come back to this 150. Not saying that's going to happen, but this stock's been beat up quite a bit. Let's take a look at a Tesla. We have Tesla ready. Let's look at Nvidia. What's going on with Nvidia this morning? Not much. Again, not a whole lot of action. And I think that everything is pretty much going to look like this. Look at Apple, same thing. It's just not much going on at the moment. Everybody is just kind of waiting to see what the man is going to say today at around 12:40, 48 or so. Um, Microsoft, Microsoft, I could type this. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Again, they got some volume today, 908, which is impressive for the type of day that it is. But other than that, I'm not seeing anything that looks over the top here on Microsoft this morning. But I do agree. The volume on this one seems a little bit higher than usual for the type of day that it is. So maybe, maybe there's something going on there that could be interesting. We'll put as a possible for now. We have Tesla. We have someone mentioned BA in our YouTube chat. Let's take a look at BA. No, pretty quiet, man. Just there's no volume right now, only 32,000. And unless there's any news, it's not really in play because we've seen BA have extremely light volume, but they have news and they'll do something. I just don't think today they're really in play. It's just again the last couple of weeks really stuck. Oh, January, just stuck in this area here, right? We had a couple of great plays here where they had some news, some sales of some 737, 787s, and that did well. But unless something comes out like that, I don't see anything else. I just see it moving sideways at the moment. So not really in play. BA never has volume. They're very light on volume, but you know what? This is one of the tickers that even though they're not getting the 80 million a day, they can get 20 million and trade very well. We've seen that plenty of times out of BA. That they're a stock that's a higher price stock that can actually put some good intraday action. So I like BA. When it's in play, it's definitely a good one. BA announces some layoffs. Oh, if they
Yeah,
announce
they do have
layoff,
layoffs.
yeah, that's the key word, man. You use layoffs, you're rocking. So we'll have to see if this thing hits the scanner today. We have to keep it on deck. Um, what else, guys? UNG, best natural gas, right?
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, yeah. I don't really day trade this one, but again, they've been down quite a bit. Everybody's trying to time the bottom on this thing. You're so we will see. I'll leave Brian to chat about this. He's keeps great track of this thing. He could give you a better explanation of what's going on here and what his thoughts are. Will be more valuable than mine for sure. Um, all right, excellent, guys. I think we are set. I only have Meta and Tesla. This is the only thing I really like today. We'll look at AMD again. Just a lot of sideways action. It's going to be a wait and see day, as Melanie was saying here over on YouTube, and just kind of see what comes out, what sticks out that we can take advantage of. Let's get to a community event and announcements. We'll come back and see if there's anything that pops up that we can take a look at and take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. Every Monday night, onboarding and technology with Carlos at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to check that out. It's open to all membership categories. On Tuesday, we have strategy. So tonight we've got Brian, 8 p.m. Eastern. He's going to be talking about how he trades the open. And then next week, Thor will be talking about trading utilizing Camarillo pivot points. Tomorrow night, we've got Creta at 5 p.m. talking about identifying your deepest fears and trading and dealing with them. And then the following week, Mike on the 15th will be talking about overcoming your fear of money. Thursday is for mentoring with John at 11 and Thor at 8. TradingTerminal.com, where we are assembling a one-stop shop for all of your important tools for the intraday trader. Everything here that traders spend thousands of dollars a year for, from replay simulator to scanners, the squawk, all kinds of awesome features. The newest one is the Insider. Carlos is showing right there. It keeps track of what retail volume and sentiment is doing, along with what politicians are trading, of course, because they're the only legal insider traders, and institutional flow that is from fund managers and other big players in the market. So be sure to check that out at tradingterminal.com. San Diego Live Trading Summit. Ticket sales are around 50 at this point, so grab them quickly as it starts to fill up. March 2nd and 3rd, 2-day event, live trading, conversations with all the mods, a panel discussion, dinner. It's going to be awesome, so be sure to check that out and come see us in San Diego. If you're watching on YouTube and have not been in the chat, use the promo code PreMarket24. Can you flip the slide, Carlos? PreMarket24. For the intro membership, that's 7 calendar days, 5 trading days, gives you a discount on that. It is a one-time payment, does not recur, so will not charge you after that one time. You actively have to go decide to become a member.
All right, thank you very much. No, I appreciate that. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's see what we have here. We'll do some levels. We'll add AMD here as well. We're requesting levels for AMD. We'll see how that looks. And yeah, let's start with Meta. And I only got 3 to do, so as when we're done with these 3, we can get to questions. We can look at anything else that we have here. Levels are going to be very easy today because I've been looking through some of these. You're going to keep almost the same levels you have yesterday. So if you look at Meta here, you look at the 4 or 5 levels you have here, high of lows from the last 2 trading days and the previous day close. They're pretty much doing everything for you. The only thing I will want to get here is a level towards the bottom. And so we're going to go here to the left and let's see what we can find. Maybe one more towards the bottom. I'm not going to worry too much about the highs, the part above the high of the last 2 trading days, because it's going to take some time to do that. And if we do, we can always go back and get some levels there. Here's our price action right now. The next level I see on the daily is around 177.33. 177.33. That's the only area I see where we got plenty of touches actually. Yeah, so plenty of stuff happening right on there. That's the only major level that I'm picking up on the daily. So once you slam that there, I think you're pretty much set. Again, anything above this, we'll have to wait to see because I don't see this going anywhere at the moment. Here is Tesla. So Tesla right now towards the bottom, you're pretty much set. Highs and lows for the last 2 trading days, previous day close. Let's get something above 200. Even with such a bad trading day yesterday, Tesla manages to just kind of make a newer low high. No, a lower high. Yes, a lower high. There we go. So it just manages to kind of, slam into this 200 area, a little bit lower. It's like a 199. It just looks very explosive, man. Looks like this thing is getting primed to get going. So today it's gonna be significant for stocks that look like Tesla, where they're just ready for any positive news to rock here. So level towards the top, 208 is the one I see here on the daily. You're saying, yeah, that's $8 away, but that is how Tesla trades, right? Tesla can give you $5 in a matter of minutes. I do see one more area here worth noting, 203. Yeah, actually minor area, 203.23. Got a couple of days slamming in that and against that there, so that is decent. Let's take a look at AMD. So AMD, I think our levels for yesterday stay the same, right? Now you have your highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. You can remove this one here, right? Remove that one because you have your highs and lows overlapping that, and you're pretty much set. 81.02 and 77.94. since our price action is pretty much where it was yesterday, this has not changed. The top has not changed. Everything stays the same here for now. So again, sideways action on Nvidia, on AMD, on Apple. Just not a whole lot going on at the moment. So we need this market to kind of wake up a little bit. All right, what else we have, guys? Pins, pins. Let's see here. Pins. No, I'm not seeing anything exciting on this. And this for me, it is a tough stock to trade. I can't remember the last time that Pins actually traded decent. And they had earnings. Looks like last night. Yep, earnings last night, and even then, it doesn't look exciting. So I just don't know what to tell you on Pins right now. It doesn't look great at the moment. Maybe that could change, right? Maybe that could change after the bell with their earnings. But their earnings looks like we had an initial reaction here last night, and same, right before things shut down, it came back up to the price that it was. So again, I didn't dig into their earnings, but it looks like it's didn't have much of an impact as far as gapping up or down. And today we're kind of flat again, so only down 1%. I don't expect a whole lot of this today. I think the bigger catalyst and move is going to be, when Jay Powell talks. I think that's what we really have to wait and see. But let's be prepared because 9:30, the market loves to surprise us, so it might give us some opportunities. TTWO. Oh no, 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 no. Somebody made a mistake here and they bought 4,000 shares. There's nothing happening here. There's nothing going on right now. Somebody hit the wrong key. They meant to buy something else. Tesla's good. CCL, yeah, I got CCL as a possible here. And today will be a day that they'll be in play. RCL is the one driving things, right? And I would watch RCL, but man, this one is the worst out of all of them. I think by far the least volume is pushed through RCL. They are 4.6 to only 192. So that's a problem. But I think if there's any day that's going to trade well for CCL is today. And then when does CCL actually have earnings? Did they do that already? No, March 22nd. So we got a bit to go for CCL. Yep. All right. Spy, what is Spy doing? Yeah, it's just pretty much flat, guys. Just kind of dancing around the previous day close. It's not really doing much. Again, if you look at yesterday, we opened up and closed right on this previous day close. I mean, it was a completely flat day. And if you guys missed it, Jared was showing this earlier. If you look at we're just stuck in this range, right? This is the highs. A couple of times we broke out of it, but for the most part, we were, is it this range here? Yeah, we're just kind of stuck in this range, right? I mean, just back and forth action, and even at some points even tighter, like just not no direction whatsoever. And unless any stock had its own catalyst where it was something explosive, you're not going anywhere, right? So this is tough trading, as you can see there. Is Meta moving here? Is Meta trying to do something? Oh, you're showing the book map. Yeah. Meta is interesting, guys. For sure or long, we'll have to see how this thing. I don't think it's gonna just stay here. I think it's gonna eventually pick a direction, and we'll be ready for whatever it ends up doing. Apple volume, that's correct. 3 million. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, 3.7. Now, there could be some block trades right in here because if you look at the volume bars, they don't add up to 3.7, right? If you add these up, so there could be a couple of block trades that were transacted that are now reflecting here. But yeah, this is right, 3.7. Which again, it's guys on a stock that trades 150 million, their most recent highs. Regular basis 72 million shares per day. This is nothing. It's a very high pre-market number, but there's just some transactions being posted somewhere here. SQL has 28 million pre-market. Really? SQL. Oh man, this is penny stock at its best right here. Yeah, be careful with this thing.
No penny stocks.
No, 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 no. And 20, yeah, 29 million. This is not that much compared to the actual value of dollars, right? So, um, still a lot of shares, but not significant shares, I guess. What is the story about the ticker AI? I can't trade it, but keeps hitting my scanner. Uh, yeah, I don't.
AI's hot right now.
Yeah,
I don't
yep.
mean AI the ticker. I mean AI the science.
Mhm. The technology, the artificial intelligence, and the chat
Alternative
GPT.
intelligence. I like that,
What
Hamish.
he said,
Alternative
alternative.
intelligence.
Yeah, yeah. That's what's hot right now. So any tickers that are attached to that, like we had in the past, guys, different things,
Definitely a trending industry, just like we've
Yeah,
had weed, fake meat,
yeah, yeah.
um, blockchain, vaccinations,
Yes, yes. The uh, what's it?
NFTs.
The
NFTs
NFTs.
were NFTs. There were a couple of tickers that said they were going to get into it, but I would say that yes, you're right, but it was a much smaller move and shorter period of time than a lot of the other stuff. And it
Yeah,
was
it really
usually
was
the companies that were already in the crypto blockchain space that were jumping into the NFT thing. Not saying
yeah,
there weren't any, like, you know, somebody
for the most
manufacturing
part.
pants that all of a sudden was going to be in NFTs, but that did happen.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that was the, yeah.
What else we have here, guys? SOUN, moving with right volume. Sound without the D. What is this? Uh, uh yeah, again, I know we're at $4, but I consider this still a penny type stock, right?
Yeah,
We've
it
been
really
sitting
is.
here, below $1, this and that. It's just um for the way I trade this won't do well for me. It really won't. It's very, very um risky for me to trade something like this. So be careful. What's the float on this thing, by the way? Say anything decent? 112 million. So it's a large float, but yeah, just be careful on this stuff. It's a whole different animal trading at this price range. It really is very, very different. Um, May we go over Nvidia? Yeah, we can go over Nvidia. I mean, there's not a lot going on it right now. I love their daily, and you're gonna see the daily on many of our stocks. With the market the way it's been the last couple of days, this daily has been really, really nice. And this is why we had guys, we had record trading in January. I mean, it was so clean, and even Andrew has some great days in January. Many of you guys in the community had amazing days. It was just that type of month, right? Where I think people overall tend to do better, whether you're a trading investor, whatever. They tend to do better when you have these bullish runs because it's hope, optimism, all that good stuff does better for people to get in and invest or get in or trade, whatever. Swing trade, it does better, right? So many people did well. But right now, we're starting February on some sideways action at the moment. I'm not saying it's going to stay like this, but it's been the last 2 days have not been amazing as far as things trending. Now that's going to change. I don't think we'll stay there for long. It's just we got to see what the guy's going to say today. The main man, Jay Powell, he can definitely get us out of this rut that we're in for the last 2 days. Nvidia is good. SQ, no volume in SQ. I see our moderators got their list ready to go here. We have Peter, did LCIN open up yesterday?
Yeah.
No, it didn't open. No. Okay. So that
LICN.
sorry, I put it wrong.
It did
LICN.
open, yes.
Oh, there it goes. Yeah, so it did open. All right, nice. All right, so they did open. So these guys opened up at $4, down a little bit. Okay, cool. Um, let's see what else we have here. All right, let's take a look at what our moderators are watching. 906. We'll look at Jared and with others here. Let me go bring this over. Guys, as I'm doing this, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube if you haven't done so already. What's going on with my thing here? If you haven't done so already, let me bring this over. We are disable this so we don't get the effect. And here we go. Okay. Excellent. All right. Let's see what our guys are watching in our team here. We have Jared, AI, Tesla, Baidu, secondary list, AMD, NVIDIA, and the ETFs. We have, he's also adding UNG today for a daily bounce. Again, that's getting a little support there towards the bottom this morning. Susan looking at Tesla, SPY, secondary list, Meta, Amazon, and Apple. No IPOs, no SPACs for today. And Peter will be looking at AMD, Baidu, Tesla, secondary list, Pins, Apple, and AI this morning. So again, notice how smaller the list is today from a lot of our moderators. Again, just a lot of wait and see type opportunities today. Wait and see what's going to happen. So again, it's gonna be that type of day. Tesla's doing his Tesla things, but again, just got to be careful. Eamon looking at Mara and for potential long, and also looking at Meta for a potential short. Both he's highlighting as risky for the way he trades there. Um, let's take a look at the SPY, see what's going on here. All right, the SPY starting to do a little something something here. We're dropping a bit. Again, not a big drop, but leaving the previous day close at least. We'll see if that can continue. Okay, I think my trading is jacked. I had an amazing December while everyone was hating it. Then January totally struggled. Yeah, I mean it's different for everyone depending on how you trade, right? So that happens.
Chip,
That
you tend to
happens.
be short biased. That's my question.
That's a good
Because
question because
those are the
that's what it
general
was.
directions of the market.
Yeah, yeah,
And that would replicate that. So that would tell me that maybe a bias was affecting it.
yeah, yeah. That makes perfect sense. Rob 707 BBBY. Yeah, it's in play today. It's in play today, but this is such garbage, man. Oh, it's you know, it's dropping here. We don't have shares for sure of Interactive Brokers. Not that I was looking to trade this anyway. You just gotta be careful. So this guy just someone's thinking of investing $1 billion in here. They're about to blow $1 billion today if this thing keeps dropping to zero. About to regret that decision. Oh man. All right. So yeah, we'll see where it goes.
I went to Bed Bath and Beyond a couple of weeks ago. They have
Yeah.
zero inventory, man.
Mm.
I needed a new pillow.
Yeah.
I go there. There's displays of dozens of pillows, not a
Hmm.
single pillow to be sold.
Wow.
And they're in a death spiral because the
Right.
reason they don't have pillows is because their vendors won't give them pillows to sell because they don't think they're going to get paid back. So they have nothing to sell. You can't,
Man,
yeah, it's
that is a
concerning,
bad
man.
situation to be in.
It's that I don't know how you get out of that.
You gotta start paying cash up front
The
for
best
things.
store on the
Yeah.
planet with the best employees on the planet, the best location can't make money if they have nothing to sell.
Right. Right.
And if they have nothing to sell, they dig themselves into a further hole, regardless of this $1 billion infusion.
Hmm.
It's rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that is a shame, a shame. Um, my store's up in Oregon. It's packed. Yep. Yep. So yeah, unfortunately, guys, careful trading this thing. That's just again, be very careful. All right, here we have it, guys. Brian coming in with Baidu, Tesla, LAC, Blink, and Meta. I believe I read Thor's, but if I didn't, Thor's list: AMD, Tesla, DKNG, and Microsoft. And every time I see DKNG now, I think of Brian saying Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong on DKNG. So let's see what DKNG is looking like today. Day looks interesting, but everything else not so hot right now. But we'll see how that plays out. I do see what you're looking at, Thor, though, the daily for a potential breakout. There's many stocks like this, though. Many stocks, right, that are looking to kind of get going. So we will see. Thomas, 1248 ish. Okay, so 1248, 40,
1240, not
1240.
1248.
Sorry, yeah, 1240. So we will see what happens then. So if you're in a position, if you're looking to get in one, just be aware that at that time things can change very drastically
Kind of a
depending on
garbage time to be trading anyway, so there probably
exactly.
won't be a whole lot of people in anything that they haven't been in for much of the day if they're not.
Right, right. So be very careful. Um, All right, guys, we'll wait for Brian to come on, and we will again just see what the market's going to give us this morning. So right now, I only have three tickers on my list: Meta, Tesla, and AMD. Is all I really have on here, and really only Tesla is the one that's kind of doing something at the moment. We will hope it trades much better than what it did yesterday morning, because yesterday morning was really bad. Yeah, everybody keeps talking about BBBY, but yeah, my thoughts on it is that I'm not going to trade this thing. I just don't think it's tradable, right? I just look at this thing. It's just dropping off the face of the earth here. It's probably going to go back down to $1.30. There's just the hopes for this ticker to do something, unless it's
Hard
memeing
to
and it,
borrow. I'm curious what they're charging to borrow it. It's
yeah.
probably a lot.
Oh yeah, to hold on to that type of risk, and the margin's probably going to be. I won't be surprised if there's no margins on it. It's all cash, right? Well, you have to short. Yeah, I just don't know how much they're going to give you on top of that. Just be careful, guys. Be really careful with this one. Here's again going back to what we mentioned earlier on OSH, right? OSH. You just can't build consistency on something like this. Same thing here on BBBY. You're not going to see something like this every day, right? You are going to see stuff like AMD, like Apple, like Microsoft, like CCL today, like, that are going to trade much better, much cleaner. You can build consistency on that. You can't build it on something that's memeing here and there. It's not going to work, right? And these price actions, they don't follow technicals, they don't follow levels. It's just, I don't know how you trade this and be successful on a consistent basis, right? So you can get lucky. Don't get me wrong. You can get lucky and make a lot of money. But what's more important, being lucky and making some money, or building consistency that you can repeat over and over again? You got to make a decision there. All right, we'll wait for Brian to hop on, guys. If you haven't done so already over on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it very much. We are sitting, I didn't even know the likes today. We are sitting at 161. So we'd love to get above 200, just 40 more. And that helps us a ton.
So, OD, is that for BBBY? The borrow rate's $9. What, on IB maybe? For 100 shares? Yeah, good luck. Enjoy that.
$9 for 100 shares.
Trade zero location. That's expensive. So
Yeah.
enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah, that is expensive.
Chris.
Because it depends how much I got. When you get lucky, it's never enough. I'll tell you this much. When you get lucky, it's never enough. No, maybe why. That's a good one. That's good. All right. There's Brian. Good morning, Brian. How you doing today? We are doing good. Let me hop off so I know if I stay on, you got that echo on your side. Guys, trade safe today. Again, be patient and wait for the setup.
Have a great day, guys. Trade safe.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So, what do we got going on here today? See, Baidu is up big. Again, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You can see Baidu up, was it up? It's up on
best you can hope for. So anyway, yeah, so talk about this in my book, Hot Sector Mania Trades. AI is definitely becoming the hot sector mania du jour. You remember back, we had pot, we had EV cars, we had Bitcoin and blockchain, if you remember. Even companies like Kodak were saying they were going to get into blockchain. So there'll be more companies that'll announce that they're looking at it or something or other, and it'll be good for a pop. So so Baidu definitely popping up here right now, although it's trading right now. It's trading below the VWAP, so possible lead balloon trade. We're definitely getting a sell-off in the markets. The SPY just keeps ever since about 8:15. The SPY has just been leaking away here. Okay, so let's do a little more research here. Why is LAC up? Okay, so last night they got through. I know they've been fighting over this Thacker Pass permit. Okay, so that came out last night.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Oh, I see Royal Caribbean's up. I think they had earnings last night. Not showing up in the top. Look at this. They're back at Hertz again. Royal Caribbean.
Royal Caribbean is RCL.
Yeah, RCL. It's I think Jay Powell, didn't they say 1240?
Wow, BBVY. BBVY.
Yeah,
Betbank
BBVY is getting.
Bandiad had a huge day yesterday. Destroyed after hours.
Yeah, 1240 Eastern time is when Powell speaks. The great man will be speaking.
All right. So, market is doing pretty much nothing.
It's been selling off since about 8 or just after.
QL is a garbage stock.
Qs have just gone green again.
Baidu. Baidu's gapping up 12%. That's the earning, huh?
No, it's an announcement about AI. Apparently,
Baidu. If everything you put AI in it these days is just gonna boom.
Yep. That's it.
Pop up.
ATVI. Yeah, there's some interesting ones. ATV.
If Bearable Traders was a public company, it would have been AI for Bearable Traders.
Yeah, just change your name.
Exactly.
Or just add AI to the name.
Bearable Traders, exactly.
AI traders. Yeah, we do have
Bearable Traders. I mean, part of the job of these CEOs is really to come up with these things to pump up the stock. And quarterly, every quarter they have to draw a rabbit out of the hat to pump up the stocks price. All right, for me, I don't like really anything. BBVY is pretty active, but it's going to get destroyed now. There might be a case for it for a long at the open, but I don't know. I have to see the time and sells. You know, I'm really into time and sells. Let's see if we can get a good order flow on that. Semis are flat, AMD and NVIDIA. I still have Tesla. I'm calls at 215 and 220. I'm short on them. We're gonna Ardi and I are gonna give a presentation for Money Show today. So it's a master money class. Actually, they invited presentation, but I think they charge $100 for that. So and if you cannot miss, if you can make it, don't worry about it. We're gonna give a better presentation in San Diego on that. So if you don't want to pay. Let's see, guys, are long BBBY.
Yeah, I'm holding on to Boyle right now. It's just gone flat on the day.
Yeah, so the only thing that I have, guys, in terms of for position right now, I have, so we sold calls at 215 and 220 for the end of this week, so in 4 days. I have 500 shares of AMD. I don't know why. And
what AMD? AMD is up a bit. Yeah, I'm short some 200 calls or 200 puts on NVIDIA. I'm just looking here to see if what's we'll see what happens. We've got another few minutes before we get to the open here. SPY and Qs are trying to find a bit of a bottom by the looks of it. Tesla looks kind of weak. It looks like it's going to sell off at the open, but still got a few minutes.
all right, so
I'll be back in a sec.
Brian went to the bathroom, so we'll see how the market is going to give us. SPY's down flat, Qs are literally flat. Let's see. Royal Caribbean is nice, capping up. Doesn't have a lot of order flow on time, and sales are kind of meh. Brian has blink in trading. He's capping now. Yeah, well, we'll have to look at the time and sales to see at the open is going to give us an opportunity or not. So it would be an interesting morning because there's not much in the watch list. Amazon is slowly leaking. Baba is doing what? Baba is up a little bit, 106. Apple's continuing leaking. Apple was at 157 2 days ago. CCL. Again, remember, guys, doesn't seem like a very volatile day. So if you do not want to trade, you just have to wait for a few minutes to the open. Somebody, Apple.
Kind of interested in Baidu still. Tesla's coming back up to the View app. We've got 2 minutes left. RCL. It's not doing much. NVIDIA. Bless you. NVIDIA's popping.
Thank you.
This is interesting. Chegg, who knows? Chegg might pop.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, I can't say I'm really I'm not seeing anything I'm really crazy about yet.
Yeah, me as well. Semis might give us some opportunity. NVIDIA is interesting.
Yeah, NVIDIA is looking kind of interesting. Baidu still seems to be looking a little bit weak here. Going into the
What's
open.
oil doing? Natural gas.
Oh, crap, it's flat.
Oil, it's flat. Popped up really nicely though. Adi bought at 560, 560. Now it's up 25%.
Nice.
Beyond is short probably to zero. Beyond, they have really a problem of cash flow. I think their cash is gonna end by 6 months.
That's what they say. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
All right, ding, 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 ding. Let's see. Apple has really good financials.
I'm short Baidu.
I do.
Just that goes a right immediate drop. So here we go. Here we go. I'm just going to cover some here. It's covering some more, 157. Yeah, it was just looking weak going into the open. I love the way it looked. You just have to wait for those last two minutes.
Tesla is weak. Really good financials.
Big bid at 156.
All right, goodbye YouTube guys, by the way. Thanks for the people on YouTube staying so far. Apple is gonna go green. Tesla is weak. I want to short it though. NVIDIA is rejecting.